right. Good morning, everybody. First, I want to start by saying that I know it has been a trying few weeks, and I'd like to thank all the Kansans who are working so hard to put their communities first. To our medical professionals and our grocery store and food industry workers, our custodial staff, and all the others, thank you for all you're doing to keep us safe and healthy. And to all our first responders, our firefighters, our police officers, and in particular our state and local emergency managers, and the 19 state active duty National Guardsmen and women, thank you for all of your hard work. I know many of you are working long hours away from your family, and that's tough. So please know that Kansans all across the state appreciate what you are doing for them. And finally, thanks to all of you, members of the press corps, who are working tirelessly to inform the public. You are cutting through the speculation, the rumors, and misinformation by providing Kansans with factual information that is critical to keeping them safe. I'm joined today by a number of business and industry leaders, including representatives from the Kansas Chamber of Commerce, the Kansas Hospitality and Restaurant Association, the Kansas Travel Association the Travel Industry Association of Kansas, Kansas Bankers Association, the Kansas Small Business Federation, the National Federation of Independent Businesses, Network Kansas, and the Kansas Bank Commissioner, David Herndon. I'd also like to welcome Chuck Marrell from Free State Brewing Company, in addition to Commerce Secretary David Tolan and Labor Secretary Delia Garcia. In recent years, I have held several press briefings to announce a series of actions we've been forced to take at the state level to combat the spread of the novel coronavirus pandemic. While our top priority is to keep Kansans safe and healthy, there's no question that these major disruptions to our daily lives pose a serious economic threat to Kansas businesses and workers. We're here to share our latest efforts to help these Kansans weather the storm and remain financially solid through these challenging times. Thanks to the support and quick response from the Kansas business community, including those here today, Kansas expects to qualify for disaster assistance loans from the U.S. Small Business Administration. The disaster declaration extends to all 105 Kansas counties, making low-interest federal disaster loans up to $2 million available for Kansas small businesses suffering substantial economic injury due to COVID-19. These loans, which will be made available through the SBA, can be used to help keep Kansas businesses afloat when they are unable to obtain credit elsewhere. As our response efforts continue, I also challenge my cabinet to think creatively about how state government might use every tool at our disposal in new ways. COVID-19 is a new virus strain. It has created unprecedented disruptions in our daily lives. Confronting it demands that we think innovatively. To that end, rapid loan funds, which the Department of Commerce now offers through the Community Development Block Grant Program, is another opportunity for local communities to provide assistance to their businesses and economic development organizations. Secretary Tolan will walk through the details of the rapid loan funds in just a moment, but it's yet another example of how we're doing all we can at the state level to provide relief and support to Kansas businesses as quickly and as efficiently as possible. Additionally, we know that the hospitality industry was among the first to be hit hard by the sudden and quickly growing list of closures and cancellations. As Kansans hunker down to practice social distancing, our previously bustling restaurants, bars, lodging facilities, conference centers, and event spaces became empty and idle overnight. So in addition to our work with the SBA and the Community Development Block Grants, my administration has established a new assistance program, the Hospitality Industry Relief Emergency Fund, or the HIRE Fund, specifically to support the hospitality industry in our state. This new resource will provide speedy assistance to hospitality businesses whose operations are being disrupted now and who need support now. Our effort to flatten the curve of COVID-19 spread has necessitated all of the gut-wrenching disruptions that have been announced to date. I am very well aware that economic distress comes with its own human cost. We're confident that the resources we're announcing today will help. But I also want Kansans to know that this is an ongoing effort. We continue to work around the clock, searching for additional resources to help save jobs and keep our economy afloat until this global pandemic crisis runs its course. In addition to our state employees, there are workers all across Kansas who face uncertainty and anxiety about their ability to provide for their families. They're worrying about their financial future should they miss a paycheck or be faced with unemployment as a result of COVID-19. To help accommodate the increase we're already seeing in jobless claims, yesterday I signed a bipartisan bill that extends the time limit Kansans are eligible for unemployment benefits from 16 weeks to 26 weeks. In a few minutes, Secretary Garcia will share more about how the Department of Labor is providing services to affected workers across the state. As governor, I pledged to be honest and direct with the people of Kansas, even when the news is difficult. Make no mistake, we are staring down some daunting challenges, but there is one bright spot in all of this. As the painful realities of this pandemic sink in, we are all newly reminded of what truly matters in this life. Every single day we navigate this crisis, the people of Kansas demonstrate the depths of their generosity, their compassion, and their resilience. Even as we practice social distancing, communities are pulling together to help each other and remind each other that no one is in this alone. Chuck Magrill from Free State Brewery, who will speak in just a moment, is one such example. And there's another. Like so many in the hospitality industry, Lady Bird Diner in Lawrence is currently closed, but the owner, Meg Hereford, could not just sit by and wait as her neighbors suffered. For several days now, she's been providing free sack lunches to Kansans in need. Despite all she sacrificed to build her small business over the last few years, she is not focused on herself or her bottom line at this time of crisis. Rather, she's compelled by something much deeper, and as she says, to do as much as she can for as long as she can. Immediately after the community became aware of her efforts, donations of food and supplies from other hospitality establishments and organizations began to pour in. Stories like that are emerging everywhere, every day across this state. So although we are not through the worst of this yet, I am reassured that we will emerge with a renewed sense of what it means to be a Kansan, and we will be stronger in the long run. And with that, I'll turn it over to Secretary Tolan to share more details about the new opportunities I just mentioned.
Thank you, Governor Kelly. As the governor directed, the Kansas Department of Commerce is moving swiftly and creatively to support Kansas businesses and communities during this unprecedented time in our state's history. We've taken rapid action to deploy the economic tools we already have in different ways and to create new tools that can support our state's economy. Here's what's underway now. First, on Tuesday, Kelly administration submitted to SBA documentation from hundreds of small businesses statewide showing the economic impact of COVID-19. This data is required for SBA to make disaster assistance loans available to businesses in all 105 Kansas counties. The team of the Department of Commerce and the Department of Emergency Management worked through the weekend with chambers of commerce, economic development professionals, business and industry groups, and literally hundreds of hospitality businesses to show the substantial economic injury that has already occurred from coronavirus. We appreciate the efforts of SBA Director Wayne Bell and his team here in the state and hope and expect that Kansas will be approved for SBA disaster relief today or tomorrow. Once we receive this designation, low-interest loans of up to $2 million can be used for working capital to help Kansas small businesses suffering substantial injury as a result of coronavirus. We're grateful to all of the businesses statewide who answered the call to provide data on how the crisis has impacted their firms. We will let the business community know immediately once SBA makes their declaration for Kansas, and we will provide a direct link to the SBA application form on our website at kansascommerce.gov. Second, in evaluating our existing tools, we identified $6.3 million in community development block grant funds that currently reside with 37 Kansas communities that use them for revolving loan programs in their communities. These are dollars that are already out there across the state. Under normal circumstances, the process takes more than 30 days for communities to conduct environmental reviews and to issue public notices before a loan can be issued to a business. We have dramatically streamlined the process so these communities can issue working capital loans, which are the loans that are most needed by small businesses right now, in as little as 2 days. The Department of Commerce will provide an environmental certification within 24 hours, and the public notice period has been shortened from 30 days to 24 hours. This means local communities can make revolving loans to rapidly meet the needs of businesses in their communities in as little as 2 business days. I'll be holding a conference call later this afternoon with community leaders statewide to help jumpstart and encourage this process. And third, as the governor said, we are very pleased to announce the creation of the Hospitality Industry Relief Emergency Fund, or the HIRE Fund. This will provide short-term, zero-interest loans to hospitality businesses with 100 or less employees. The HIRE Fund loans are available to help these businesses meet working capital needs, payroll, utility bills, commercial loan or lease payments, accounts payable, inventory expenses, and more. The HIRE Fund is intended to be a bridge loan to help hospitality businesses survive this temporary downturn. The maximum loan amount is $20,000 with no principal or interest payments due until 120 days, 4 months after the loan closes. The governor has made available a total of $5 million to establish the HIRE Fund. These dollars come from the state's Job Creation Fund. It is our intent that the HIRE Fund move at the speed of business. Loan decisions will be made within 72 hours of the time a complete application is submitted, and businesses will receive their money within 48 hours or the next business day if it's a weekend of an application being approved. This is all made possible by our partners at Network Kansas, which will administer the program. Network Kansas has a system of underwriters in 64 Kansas communities statewide that will be reviewing and acting upon these loan applications. The Network Kansas team is already on the ground with small businesses across the state, providing a range of resources, and we are incredibly grateful to Steve Radley, Eric Peterson, and the rest of the Network Kansas team for stepping up and adding this to the list of supports that they provide to the Kansas business community. You can find more information about the program and submit applications online. It is open right now at kansascommerce.gov/HIRE Fund. Again, kansascommerce.gov/HIRE, H-I-R-E Fund. As we speak, there are 762 hotels and accommodation businesses and nearly 10,000 food and drink establishments across our state that are faced with hard decisions about the days and weeks to come. We have developed the HIRE Fund at the governor's direction in conjunction with our private sector partners, banks, the hospitality industry, tourism partners, and many more, and we feel that these loan funds can be a stabilizing force for this critical sector of the Kansas economy. Now, I'd like to introduce a representative from the hospitality industry in Kansas, Chuck Maggerl of Free State Brewing Company in Lawrence. Chuck, could you say a few words, please?
Thank you, David. On behalf of the thousands of cafes, restaurants, drive-ins, and coffee shops in our state, the tens of thousands of people who work every day to greet and feed you, and the growers, processors, and distributors who supply our kitchens, I want to extend our appreciation. Along with our partners in hotels, lodges, and event venues across Kansas, this stunning downturn has taken an immense toll. Programs like this, in addition to the just legislated enhanced unemployment provisions, while not enough on their own to promise continuing operations, certainly are steps to keep the important hospitality industry on a pathway to possibilities. Cafes, diners, taverns, and restaurants are key places in our communities. It's where we gather for coffee in the morning, grab a bite to keep us going through a busy workday, relax with family and friends in the evening, and gather for special occasions. I would be celebrating one of my daughter's birthday this weekend, dining out at a favorite local restaurant, were it not for the incredible disruption we're experiencing. As hospitality workers, we devote ourselves to caring for people in our communities. While the jolt of the loss of revenue has been huge, the social isolation of not being able to extend the comfort of our places to our fellow Kansans in this traumatic time is incredibly sorrowful. Having the resources of the state and carefully crafted programs such as this are steps that will prove valuable in giving us hope to continue. We desperately want to return to our roles in the downtown squares, highway crossroads, and neighborhoods across Kansas. We want to be at the front door, shaking hands and welcoming our friends and neighbors back to the tables we're holding for them. The memories will motivate us in the difficult days ahead to make sure we believe that there are good times still to come. Thank you very much for this effort. And with that, I'm pleased to introduce the Kansas Secretary of Labor, Delia Garcia.
Thank you, Mr. Madrigal. As we navigate these unprecedented times during this health and economic crisis, know that the Kansas Department of Labor is here for you, and we are ready to support our fellow Kansans. My staff is working relentlessly to adjust to the rapidly evolving guidance around COVID-19, also known as the novel coronavirus, and how it is impacting all of us. We are doing everything we can to support Kansas workers and employers, and I want to share a few pieces of critical information that will better position all of us to get through this together. To convey the gravity of this situation, last week, Sunday through Thursday, we had 1,296 unemployment insurance claims. This week, we have had 11,355 claims. That is an increase of 10,059 in just week one. We are in uncharted waters right now, which constitutes the importance of working together. These are substantial increases on a daily basis, and it is absolutely critical that workers and employers utilize our website as much as possible. So we are directing employers and workers who are able to go to our website at www.dol.ks.gov or www.getkansasbenefits.gov to read our latest COVID-19 updates, frequently asked questions, apply for benefits, file by spreadsheet, or our shared work program, and utilize additional resources we offer. Also, please check our social media and website for updates as we are posting information frequently. Due to the unprecedented high call volume, wait times on the phone are long, and getting information online will help us speed up this process. Please know my team is doing the very best we can to process these claims in a timely manner and appreciate your patience. For those employers who are forced to temporarily lay off workers due to COVID-19, we are directing them to file by spreadsheet for unemployment insurance benefits for affected employees. By filing by spreadsheet, the employer is able to submit the initial application for unemployment insurance benefits for all employees. They will have the opportunity to provide all information at once instead of responding to individual requests for the information from the Kansas Department of Labor. And I would like to personally thank those employers for doing this already. If employers do lay off workers, they are required to notify them of their potential eligibility for unemployment insurance benefits. For employers considering how to deal with disruptions of work caused by COVID-19, our shared work program may be a tool that can help. Our shared work program allows an employer to avoid layoffs by reducing work hours for employees while providing a partial unemployment insurance benefit at the same time. Employers can visit our website to learn more and apply. Also, there are many workers that are not working or working reduced hours due to COVID-19, and we want those individuals to know that you may be eligible for unemployment insurance benefits for 26 weeks. There are less stringent eligibility requirements at this time, and the waiting week requirement is being waived for those impacted by COVID-19. After they first file, they can expect benefits up to 7 to 10 days, and they could either receive through debit card or direct deposit. If workers are able to, we are directing them to file their unemployment insurance claim online at www.getkansasbenefits.gov. If they have an issue and cannot be resolved on our website, then they can call us, but please understand there are high call volumes and long wait times with that. Again, please be patient with my team as we are doing our very best to address this statewide. For those who are unable to access the internet or non-English speakers, our hotline is 1-800-292-6333. And we want to reserve this hotline for those who are not able to utilize our website so we can address everyone's needs. Again, I want to emphasize my appreciation, partnership between employers and workers and the Kansas Department of Labor and using our website, www.getkansasbenefits.gov. At this moment, let's be kind, take care of each other, as some of our fellow Kansans may not know the community resources available, such as food and other forms of assistance. So I'm encouraging everyone to please check your local options and share with each other. Today and every day, the Kansas Department of Labor stands with our fellow workers and employers. We have survived tough times before, and we will get through this together. Now I will pass the mic to Mr. David Herndon, our state's banking commissioner.
Good morning. I'm David Herndon, the Kansas State Bank Commissioner. The Office of the State Bank Commissioner regulates banks chartered by Kansas and non-bank consumer credit providers, those companies that offer loans but do not accept deposits, licensed to do business in Kansas. We conduct safety and soundness examinations, regulatory compliance examinations, information technology and cybersecurity examinations mandated by both federal and state laws and regulations. Safety and soundness conducted at Kansas State banks overwhelmingly demonstrates the excellent condition that our banks enjoy. There are 189 state chartered banks in Kansas, approximately 30 national banks chartered or operating in Kansas, with asset size ranging from less than $20 million to more than $5 billion. At the end of 2019, Kansas chartered banks had over $48 billion in assets, held over $39 billion in deposits, over $31 billion of funds extended in loans, and nearly $6 billion in capital. Kansas banks are safe and Kansas banks are sound. That means your money in Kansas banks is also safe and sound. In fact, it's safer in the bank than any place else. I read a comment yesterday to the effect that it's easier to rob a house or a person than it is a bank. So therefore, Kansans should be safe and sound and protect yourselves and your funds by leaving them in the Kansas bank accounts. Making your deposits even safer is the FDIC. The standard deposit insurance coverage is $250,000 per depositor per FDIC insured bank, and all of the banks in Kansas are FDIC insured. Deposits held in different ownership categories are separately insured up to at least $250,000, even if they are in the same bank. No depositor has ever lost a penny of insured deposits since the FDIC was created in 1933. Banks take their deposits from the consumers and businesses and reinvest those in consumer and commercial loans to grow and support their local economies. They hold enough cash in reserves to meet the normal demands of their customers, but the amount of cash on hand is immaterial to the level of risk a depositor might have of those funds at the bank. There's plenty of cash available. It simply takes an order to have it shipped to the bank or the bank branch location. Large, especially unnecessary cash withdrawals merely place more undue risk on the loss of those funds by the withdrawing depositor. Kansas banks and Kansas bankers have repeatedly demonstrated their willingness and capability to assist Kansans in times of emergencies. And there's no doubt they will be there and can help during this emergency. Kansas bankers are respected leaders in their communities, and that leadership is now on full display. I've spoken with bankers who have stepped up to help. They've told me what they're doing and will continue to do so. They're making new loans. They're amending terms and conditions, most of the time relaxing those terms and conditions by extending maturities, reducing interest rates, forbearing payments, that sort of thing. And they are continuously doing that with borrowers who have been adversely impacted in the past several days by this pandemic. As you've heard, there are new loan programs and loan guarantees programs that are being rolled out that banks will be able to participate in, and they will do those as well as use the strength of their own balance sheets to support their communities. Kansas banks are actively involved in all of these programs designed specifically to aid their communities, their customers, their clients, their borrowers, and their depositors. The industry is stepping up to help us through this pandemic, and they are going to be there through the duration of this pandemic. Thank you, and I'll turn it back over to Governor Kelly for questions.
Any questions for any one of us?
Well, Governor, you've given us so much information. How much time do we have? I'm sorry,
30
seconds. I'm going to step in and say last question, but you've given us a lot of information here.
No, go ahead. I think we've got a few minutes.
Okay. All right. I'm curious. You did the calculation, but $5 million available in this loan fund hurts about 17,000 businesses just in the hospitality. So that's about, what, 250 loans if everybody borrows the maximum. There seems to be a pretty big gap there in terms of what might be needed versus what you've got to offer.
Well, I think the intent of that is to supplement what's already out there. And obviously, you know, as this continues and we need to reevaluate, we will do that.
Governor, have people actually been running to their local bank and yanking a bunch of money out?
Let me have David Herndon respond to that since he's in close touch with our banks.
So the question was, are people running to banks to withdraw cash? Is that correct?
Right. Yes, sir.
The short answer is no. There have been no reported instances of people making large cash withdrawals. They have called, however, their banks and asked if cash is available. In some cases, there have been people who have taken out more than they normally would just to have some cash available in their home versus in their bank account. But bank accounts are still active. Deposit accounts are, ATM cards and ATM machines and debit cards are still working just as they have in the past, and they will continue to be so. There is no reason and no reports that I am aware of anybody taking out large cash withdrawals other than a few remote instances where people have called and said, can I? Or are there restrictions? And the answer is no.
But it would seem you're concerned about that because you're urging people not to do it. So are you worried about that?
There is always a liquidity concern as to whether the economy is going great or otherwise. I've also heard of a couple of national reports where there have been speculation that this could turn into people needing cash, but again, I have no personal knowledge of any type of withdrawal.
You're not worried that you're setting the fire here?
No, I'm not. As a matter of fact, I'm hoping to do exactly the opposite.
Secretary, go ahead.
Question for the Labor Secretary. Can you talk a little bit about, you were talking about your call line, people calling in. Can you quantify in terms of the number of calls that are coming in, the amount of weight that they're experiencing? Do you have enough, how many people do you have staffing that? Is it enough? I threw a lot of questions at, but can you quantify in terms of the demand call volume you have right now?
So the question is what is the quantifying of the amount of calls?
Yes.
So many are coming in, I can't even quantify it right now, to be honest. What I can share with you is the importance of using our website, www.getkansasbenefits.gov. You know, I was joking earlier yesterday, if somebody asked me, are you hungry? I'm going to answer www.getkansasbenefits.gov. I'm serious but joking. I cannot stress that enough. The call volume is coming in faster than we can count. We do have staff, but I do want to share with you a very important note that our budget that we receive from the federal government is driven by the number of claims. So we are in a unique situation that we have been in very low claims because of the low unemployment rates. So consequently, we have had a reduced budget and staff. So literally overnight, that has gone from low to high. We are going to be working with that. We are working with the amount of staff we have now. And luckily, we have had amazing staff that we have promoted who used to work in the call center. So we are bringing some of those workers back and going to retrain them and who have the special skill set to be able to take these calls.
How many
What's
people
the
do you
guess that
have?
we're talking on how many have lost their jobs? What are we guessing?
It's too early to tell right now.
What are
It
you
really
thinking?
is. It's really too. So here's the thing. When we have our labor market information, when we measure that, we're from the previous month. So we will not be able to tell real numbers of this impact until May. What is the first indicator is our unemployment insurance claims. That's real time. That's the calls I get, the unemployment insurance claims numbers that I shared with you a few seconds ago. Those are the numbers that are indicating, but we can't, it's too early to tell right now.
And those are also the average claim, the average weekly.
Claims, so the max that an individual can receive is 488. The
Yeah.
minimum is 122.
What's the middle, is there a middle ground there, or?
So-
Are these people from the hospitality industry that are going to be filing, are they going to be at the lower end of the scale, higher?
So right now, we're just asking people to file online, and we will be able to determine that. What I can share with you, and the question was asked, what is the benefit, right? The average. So the average right now is 330. But again, those numbers can shift and change. It's important to know, if I can finish, 488 is the max, 122 is the lowest.
You said you have 10,000 claims in 1 week's time, increase of 10,000 claims. What does that tell you about the trajectory? I mean, can you divine anything from that?
It's still too early to tell. Our focus.
How long can you last?
So the good news is Kansas, with working with our business partners and our legislators, everybody, again, the importance of teamwork that we've done in the past, we have positioned ourselves. We have our trust fund that is solvent. We were about almost at $1 billion going into this. So we are starting off on a good foot. What is important is what happens in the next few months. I will share with you that we've been on the phone with our federal Congress members, our federal delegation every day, last week and this week, on how we can partner, what information we can share with them, because it's going to take a partnership at every level.
Governor, I was talking with somebody the other day, a small business owner who's had to close down his restaurant here in Topeka, and he was able just to make sure that the checks cleared for his staff that he's had to lay off. But he can't remit his sales tax, he can't remit his federal withholding tax. Nobody from the Department of Revenue is here, but what are you thinking about in terms of the hit the state is going to take in terms of this revenue, and what kind of a grace period can you give people?
Yeah, we are looking at all those kinds of deadlines, whether it's in revenue or whether it's over in our licensing agencies. We're taking a look at all of those, and we will be modifying those where we need to respond to individual needs.
Do you anticipate consensus revenue estimates going down?
Yeah, I expect they will. I'll be surprised if they don't. We'll have to look at what numbers they're basing that on and how much real-time data they have to be able to determine those. But yeah, we're anticipating that. That was why I was calling upon the legislature to leave cash in the bank because we really don't know what's going to be happening. So we need to make sure that we've got a cushion to see us through this time.
We got time for one more question.
Secretary Garcia, excuse me.
Yeah, Jonathan?
Secretary Garcia, on the unemployment insurance claims, are those broken down by sector? And can you give us any idea of how those are broken down by sector?
So yes, as of right now, that's too early to tell. It's not broken down by sector. I can share with you that on our website at www.dol.ks.gov, you can find our numbers. We will be posting once a week, every Tuesday. Thank you.
What do you think tie your hands, Governor, on actions that you can take to get us through this emergency here?
I think that was their initial intent, but I think cooler heads prevailed, and they compromised on a resolution that essentially leaves the powers intact.
All right, thank you.
Oh.